Yes, guys, different kind of video for this one. I was going to make a video just entirely on Milan versus Inter, the game that I just finished watching on my channel. But a lot of people in the chat while I was describing that were kind of saying, well, what about the Barca game? Are you going to do a reaction to that? And I was thinking, is it a little too late for the Barca game? It happened yesterday, but it kind of just had me thinking. I watch a lot of football throughout the week, right? Throughout the weekend even. This weekend, for example, I watched Barca, I watched Bayern, I watched just now Inter versus Milan. I watched Monaco, and I didn't make videos on any of them, but I still have thoughts, maybe not enough to make a 20-minute compilation, but still enough thoughts to kind of give to you guys. So I thought, let's try this out. If you guys like the video, you like it. If not, maybe we don't do it again. But here's kind of just a quick summarization of some of the things I learned watching Europe's top 5 leagues. It's a different Premier League video, but more one dedicated to the European action from the weekend. First and foremost, let's talk about the game that just happened, and that's Milan-Inter. Well, Inter-Milan. Inter losing 1-0 today. And if you guys don't know, Inter is my side in Italy. So I think everyone has a team in each European league that they look out for and they like to see play. For me, since as far back as I can remember, maybe even going back to like Jose's Inter team, this has been my team in Italy. And to be fair, there was a period with Inter and Milan that Inter were the dominant force in this fixture. I remember going to the San Siro a few years ago and Inter won 5-1, demolished them. I watched it in the flesh. And at that point, I think they had gone 6 games unbeaten or even 6 games winning against them. Inter were really dominating the Derby della Madonnina, as they call it. Since then, the tides have completely flipped here, man. Milan are undefeated against Inter in their last 6 outings. And this is a Milan team that, yes, this season have been very impressive, but over the last few years have been a big disappointment in Italian football. Last season, they didn't even qualify for European football. They're 6 games unbeaten against Inter, who are, for my money, the best squad in Europe. And I went into this game thinking it could be a draw, but I favored Inter because I think Inter under Kivu have really turned things around since the start of the season. And I was a big critic of Kivu. I thought Kivu wouldn't last too long into the year. I thought replacing Inzaghi with someone who I considered a relative novice was a very bizarre decision from Inter. But give credit to Kivu. He has this team playing freely. I think a bit even arguably more free than they were under Inzaghi. They're scoring more goals. They're creating more chances. They've been really good. And with a win today, they could have climbed back to the top of Serie A. Milan, on the other hand, have been very strong this season, much better than I think anyone expected them to be, but maybe have fell away at the wayside a little bit of late. But today is a massive result for Milan. 1-0 away from home, if you want to call it. But my big takeaway from this game is when Mike Maignan is on form, right? When Mike Maignan is playing at his absolute best, the guy is like a samurai, honestly. He's so agile. He's so quick. He's so difficult to beat, it's ridiculous. The guy's a cat. Inter played a good game today. I have to be honest. I think Inter played a good game. I think they created a lot of chances. They had some gilt-edged opportunities. They even had a penalty. But Mike Maignan, whatever he was thrown at today, managed to deal with it. I mean, the first half, Thuram had an amazing opportunity. Maignan gets down low and stops it. The second half, Thuram with a flick on. Lautaro, first time effort with the outside of his foot, curling away from Magnan's grasp, and still he gets down low enough to tip it onto the post. So many opportunities for Inter. Some that Maignan didn't even stop, right? I mean, Akanji has an opportunity at the far post that I think he should score, but the biggest opportunity, the most gilt-edged one that Inter were guilty of missing today was the penalty. And I'm happy that they called it because it's a similar incident to Foden in the Man City-Newcastle game if you watch that at the weekend, where the ball falls to a player, they pass it or shoot it, they get their attempt off, and yet there's still a foul after the incident. Against Newcastle, Foden took a shot, he missed, but Cher still goes through him. They say no penalty. For me, I think it's still a foul. Today, who was it at the far post? I can't remember exactly who it was, but whoever it was got absolutely trodden on by Pavlovic, even after getting their cross in. For me, it doesn't matter what happens with the cross after that. You were fouled. Inter get the penalty. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, ex-AC Milan, big enemy of them at this point. One-on-one against Maignan from 12 yards. And this is a dead ball specialist. This is one of the best dead ball specialists in the game since he's broken through Çalhanoğlu. We know him for his free kicks, his corners, his penalties. This guy's as reliable as it gets. And yet again, it was that man, Mike Maignan, going down low, making the big save, and ultimately winning all 3 points for Milan today. Pulisic scores the vital goal. But if we're being real, today, the difference was the goalkeepers. Maignan was the man of the match on one side, and Yann Sommer, who since the Champions League final, where he conceded 5 against PSG, countless goals at his near post, has been an absolute calamity. And look, there's a lot of Inter players that last season I thought were dead in the water, and I thought needed a replacement. They've proven me wrong, a few of them. Yann Sommer has not proven me wrong. Inter need a new goalkeeper, and the evidence, more than anything, was today. If Inter had Maignan today, they would have won that game. Sommer, such an easy effort from Salamakers. Easily parries it into the path of Pulisic, who had nothing but an open goal to aim at. 1-0 Milan. And it's 6 games unbeaten for them. So the big takeaway from me this game is that sometimes a goalkeeper can be all the difference. And today, the difference between Mike Maignan and the difference between Jan Sommer was ultimately the difference between Inter and Milan. So congratulations to Milan. And as for Inter, look, they played a decent game, but they lost to their rivals. So it's a bit harsh for them. But we'll see how Serie A continues to shape up as the season goes on, because at the moment, Roma stay at the top of the league. Napoli are up there. Bologna are in the top 4. It's a tight league at the moment. We'll see how it goes. Elsewhere in Europe, let's go to Spain, where I watched Barcelona destroy Athletic Bilbao. But the big takeaway from this game, Barca are back home. Barcelona are back at the Camp Nou. I'd like to know in the comment section down below, actually. Barca fans, let me know. Is it the Camp Nou or is it the Nou Camp? Me, I've always said the Camp Nou. Always. But there are a few fans that tell me it's the Nou Camp. And I hear on commentary sometimes, the Nou Camp. Which one is it? Is there a right answer? Is there a wrong answer? For me, it's the Camp Nou. That's what I've always known it as. But Barca making their return back home, back to one of the most fabled grounds in all of Europe, and they're bigger and better than ever. The Camp Nou has been renovated. Shout out Spotify. It took you guys long enough, but Barca are back where they belong. And they returned with an emphatic performance to cap it off. 4-0 against Athletic Bilbao. Bilbao had a few chances of their own, but also, let's call it what it is. Barca could have scored 5 or 6 in this game. And I think the big takeaway, again, is from a goalkeeper's point of view. Unai Simon, what the hell is this guy doing? Look, Unai Simon has been Spain's goalkeeper for the longest time now. I think dating back to Euro 2021, he's been in net for the Spaniards. At the time, he was keeping out De Gea from the team. As of late, he's been keeping David Raya. He's been keeping Joan Garcia from Barcelona. He's been the main guy for Spain. And to be fair to him, Unai Simon has more often than not actually been decent for Spain, especially in the last Euros. I thought he played a great campaign for them. But I feel like this is where you got to look at the landscape. You got to look at the pool of players at your disposal, the way other players are playing. And Unai Simon, for me, has been far too suspect for club over the last 12 months, maybe even longer, dating back even more than that. And when you compare that to the way David Raya has been for the last 18 months for Arsenal, and the way Joan Garcia has been for, first of all, Espanyol last season, but now Barca, De La Fuente has to make a decision here. Yes, he's the trusted guy, and it's similar to England, right? Maguire was playing all those years for England, even though he wasn't playing well for Man United. But I think in this situation, you have a goalkeeper at the top of his game in David Raya, and potentially a generational goalkeeper in the form of Joan Garcia. And when you see mistakes like the 2 that Unai Simon made, first and foremost on the Lewandowski shot, and then secondly on the Ferran Torres goal, that's not good enough. Not when the other 2 are playing the way they are. So I think De La Fuente has a massive selection headache on his hands. But as for Barca, I think they're starting to kind of put together performances that we attribute to Hansi Flick's Barca. This season has been less than convincing, right? Especially to start the year. Inigo Martinez leaving the club, Lewa suffering injuries, Rafinha suffering injuries. I think Barca really struggling to control games like the way they did last season, conceding so many big opportunities and dropping big points, especially capped off by the Clásico loss against Madrid at the Bernabeu, where I didn't think Madrid were exceptional. I thought Hansi Flick lost the game more than Alonso won it. But as of late, I have to say the last 2 or 3 games from Barca, I've been impressed quietly, right? We still need to see massive improvements, and Rafinha still needs to join the team. But I actually have to say, defensively, I think they have been a bit better. Now, they still concede chances. Nico Williams had a chance. Sanset had a chance. They're not perfect. But I was impressed by Barca today, and I still maintain that when I look at this Barca team and this Real Madrid team, who granted, I didn't watch Real Madrid's full 90 minutes. I watched the last 10 minutes, right? But over the entirety of the season, and based on what I know from them last year, I still believe that a fully fit and firing Barca are a better team than a fully fit and firing Real Madrid under Xabi Alonso. From what I've seen of Alonso so far, I still back Barca when everyone is fit. I still do. Because Real Madrid still continue to underwhelm me. I still leave Real Madrid games with more questions than answers. And I'm still yet to be convinced that Xabi Alonso has fully put his fingerprints on this team. Whereas Barca, yes, have not been great this year. But I know what Barca at their very best look like. I know when Rafinha, Lewa, and Yamal are together, that's the best front 3 in the game. I know more often than not they're going to outscore teams. It's just a question of can they stay fit? And on the topic of Yamal, my God, I know people are trying to paint the picture that he isn't having the best season. I think that's what happens when you set your standards as high as he did last year. Yamal, man, in this game was ridiculous. And the assist that he gets, I think it was for Ferran's goal. Come on, man. Come on. How can you watch this guy and not just absolutely marvel at the kind of talent we have on our hands? He's sensational, bro. He's sensational. That assist was a mixture of the best of Neymar and the best of Leo Messi put together in one. When he's really like fully running at players, the guy's practically impossible. And what I liked about Yamal so much is he's showing a real aptitude for being as effective as he is centrally. And I think that's where his future lies. I know he's fantastic out on the wing, but at times I feel like he gets restricted out there. I feel like sometimes he is almost like stay out wide, receive the ball on the touchline, and create from there. Nah, man, I think the best players, maybe he's not there in his career yet, but I think he's starting to show flashes, game in, game out, that Yamal's future lies central and as close to goal as possible. Because when he picks up these balls in the half spaces, turning and running out players, he's strong, he's tall, he's quick, and he's so incredibly gifted. You can't get the ball off him. And then when he has passes like the ones he does, the Trivela to Ferran, the pass, the second one, I mean, wow. He's the best creator in the game for my money right now. And you guys know how I feel about Yamal. I'm such a fan. But this was a fantastic performance from Barca. And a result that, coupled with Madrid's draw against Elche, leaves them 1 point behind Madrid. I think they'll have taken that compared to where they were a few weeks ago. And I'm going to say it again. You give me a fully fit and firing Real Madrid and a fully fit and firing Barcelona. I know which side I'm standing on. I'm standing on Barca's side, man. They look better to me. Let's head over to Germany, though, where Bayern thrashed Freiburg 6-2 to extend their lead at the top of the Bundesliga and maintain their perfect start to the season. Still, no losses, 1 draw. But this wasn't all easy because they started the game 2-0 down. That's not something Bayern have suffered a lot this season, right? We've seen in past years, Bayern, they'll drop a goal or two and then they come back. But this year, no teams have even been able to take a lead against them. But this game, 2-0 down, and all of a sudden, maybe alarm bells are starting to ring, right? Because they did drop points recently as well, too. And when you look at the goals that Bayern conceded, 2 set-piece goals, 2 goals off corners. For me, if I'm looking at Bayern ahead of their game against Arsenal in midweek, that's a concern. Because the way they conceded those 2 goals from corners was amateur, in my opinion. In a few days, you got the best set-piece team in the world. You got to iron out those mistakes because Arsenal will punish you. However, what a comeback from Bayern. And there's 2 players I really want to talk about. First and foremost is Michael Olise. 2 goals, 3 assists, and just ran the show today, man. Honestly, what we're seeing from Olise, game in, game out, is a player who is more than happy to accept the added responsibility that it comes for playing for a European superpower like Bayern Munich. The guy's game has come about leaps and bounds since leaving Palace, but more than that, his confidence and the responsibility he accepts has come leaps and bounds, man. This guy is officially that dude. He's no longer just a great player in a good team. He's no longer even a great player in a great team. He is one of the players in one of the teams. And the way he took that game by the scruff of the neck today, or rather yesterday, is what I want to see from the best players week in, week out. And it's why Michael Olise is a player I continuously describe as a dude who is rapidly becoming a superstar in front of our very eyes. Hell, he might already be there, man. But maybe I want to see it in the big European knockout games and the big international tournaments. But in terms of talent and performances, Olise is out of this world, man. And this performance had a little bit of everything. You want to see Olise running at players? You got it. You want to see Olise linking up with players? You got it. You want to see Olise setting up teammates? You got it. You want to see Olise doing that trademark curler into the far post, a la Robin? You got it. You want to even see Olise put his foot through the back of through the ball, like power hit it, which you don't really see from Olise too much. You had it in this game as well, too. Olise ran the show, man, and he is quickly becoming one of the very best players in the game. We know he's a world-class player. He is rapidly becoming arguably a top 10 player in the game. He is that good, man. But we know how good Olise is. The other player I want to talk about is Leonard Carl, man. Where has this kid come from? 17 years old. And to be honest with you, right? Maybe Bayern fans can correct me here because you watch your team a whole lot more than me. But when I think of Bayern in my time of watching football, they don't really hit me as like a team that you see many young players just make the breakthrough. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that. I know Lam is obviously one, and Schweinsteiger, Kimmich, I guess. Yeah, Kimmich as well too. But I don't really think of Bayern as a club when I think of them as like, oh, that many players come through the ranks and spend. The one that Leonard Carl right now is really like reminding me of is Thomas Muller. And they're very different players, right? Leonard Carl is like, he plays like a Spaniard, to be honest with you, much more than a German. Whereas Thomas Muller was like, oh my God, this is, if Bayern Munich could create a player in a lab, it's Thomas Muller. Leonard Carl is much more like fluid and flashy and flary. And he plays a bit like Yamal, to be honest. Sometimes you see the actions from him. But when I think of a young attacking midfielder come out of nowhere and just stake a claim in the Bayern team from day one, I haven't seen someone do what Leonard Carl is doing right now since Thomas Muller under Louis van Gaal. He has come in from out of nowhere. Maybe I wasn't familiar with him at youth level, but he looks like he has to play every game right now. And when Bayern were 2-0 down, you're looking at Kane, you're looking at Olise, of course, too. But no, it's Leonard Carl who's picking up the ball, driving his team forward, linking up with others, grabbing the first goal, then setting up Olise and getting the troops together. Let's go, let's get another. This kid looks like a star, man. Honestly, I don't know where he's come from. And his frame is very diminutive. He's very, very small. He's very unimposing, but he's a player, man. He's a brilliant, brilliant player. And maybe he's not getting as much shine from the mainstream media because, like I always say, for me, Bayern are disrespected when it comes to the elite clubs. They do not get enough. You have to do so much more at Bayern to get your dues than you do at Liverpool or United or City or Real Madrid. But I keep an eye out for them. This kid, what he's doing for Bayern right now is special. And for him to play as much of a role as he did in this comeback, I give him massive props. He is, for me, the breakout star of the 2025-26 season. I have no idea where he came from. I didn't see it coming, but now I can't take my eyes off him, man. This is a player. And hey, keep an eye out for the World Cup as well, too. Germany, 2026. I think he should be in the squad, man. I think he should be in the squad. Finally, I watched one more game this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, I was watching Monaco versus Rennes. Now, you might be asking me why. First and foremost, Monaco have been a disappointment this season. They were one of those teams I wanted to look out for at the start, namely for the likes of Akliouche, Lamine Camara, Ansu Fati, and of course, Paul Labille Pogba. The entire world keeping an eye out on this game. Just one. At least one eye out on this game. Even if you weren't watching it, you were keeping an eye on it, right? Pogba's back. That's been the murmur all around Europe this entire weekend. We knew he was going to come back eventually, but it's been week after week after week in the French league, and we haven't seen Pogba come back. But the murmurs have always been there. When's Pogba coming back? Pogba might be making his debut this weekend. Pogba's back in training. Pogba might be back. I'm sorry, guys. This doesn't happen with every player. And that just tells you the impact that Paul Pogba has on European football. This guy is a don. Paul Pogba made his return to European football today for the first time in 2 years, bro. 2 years since he's played a game of football. 2 years since he was banned from the game for doping allegations. 2 years he's had to sit on the sideline and watch France go to international tournaments, watch teams pass him up, watch the game go by, watch people forget him, watch players arise, players retire. The game has passed by and Pogba has had to be a bystander watching it until this weekend. La Pioche made his return to the game. And look, when he first came on, I saw him warming up and I'm like, damn, this might not be the game to bring him on. Monaco were 4-0 down to Rennes. Monaco have been a disgrace this year. And Rennes, honestly, when it comes to producing young talent, they're the team and they look really good this year. But Monaco 4-0 down. You see Pogba about to come on. I'm almost thinking to myself, like, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I can wait another weekend. This doesn't feel like the right time to bring Pogba back in. And yet Pogba rose from his seat, took his jacket off, and prepared to enter the pitch. And all around him, Rennes fans who are watching their team win 4-0 against Monaco rise to their feet and give this man a standing ovation. That's right, 4-0 up, embarrassing the opposition. Rennes fans saw Paul Pogba enter the game, rise to their feet, and clap him like a soldier coming back from war. Because that's effectively what Pogba has done. Pogba has gone to hell and back, man. Had his reputation ripped, dragged through the mud, and watched the game pass him by, or so we thought. Because Pogba entered this game 4-0 down for Monaco, clapped on by the fans, and in 10 minutes, put on a better performance than every single Monaco player did in 90. No exaggeration. If you watched it, you know. The comps are out there. Pogba made his return to the game and in 10 minutes reminded us that this is still one of the most special talents in the game. He's still got something about him. Now look, match fitness needs to build up. Sharpness needs to build up. I'm sure he's not going to be as good now as he was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That's to be expected, especially given his age and the fact that he's missed 2 years of football. But I saw enough in those 10 minutes to know there's still something there. And I know this for a fact, so take it from me as a fact. I know for a fact, and this is not speculation, this is not theory, I know this. I've spoken to people. Didier Deschamps talked to Pogba, spoke to him, called him on the phone when he signed for Monaco and told him, if you are able to stay fit and keep up a decent level of performances, I'll see you in the US. You are coming to the World Cup. We know what Didier Deschamps is like with his players at the national team. Once he trusts you for life. He's the hardest manager in the world to gain that trust. But once he trusts you for life. And that trust has never left with Pogba. And we know, watching France the last few tournaments, they still got a midfield issue. If Pogba can put together a solid, how many months are left in the season now? November to May, Paul Pogba, World Cup 2026. France, I will be there no matter what. And one more thing, the reception that Pogba got, not only from the Rennes fans, right? But on media. He posted all over his story. All the people were reposting him and showing him love. From Dembele to Mbappe to Kante to Benzema to Bruno Fernandes to Maguire. The entire footballing world all stood up this weekend and welcomed back one of their favorite sons. Pogba is still that guy. And I always think it's funny. Pogba, for me, is the player who the difference in opinion between media and players is the most different in the world, in my opinion. The media, especially in England, cannot stand this guy, thinks he's overrated, cannot understand what all the hype was about, despised him in England. But every single player that's either played with Pogba, played against Pogba, or watched Pogba coming up has nothing but complimentary words to say. He's inspired a generation in France. He's inspired a whole archetype of midfielder. And I'm so happy to see him back in the game. Because for me, love him or hate him, I believe football's in a better place when Paul Pogba is in it. Because there's not many midfielders that A, can do what he does, but do what he does anyways. Guy's a showman. You guys know me. That's my kind of player. So Pogba's back, man. And I'm happy to say it. I wish him all the best this season. And I cannot wait to see him potentially playing in the 2026 World Cup. But guys, that's my things I learned this weekend. Those are my big takeaways from the games I watched. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys want to see me more cover the big European leagues. If so, guys, you know me, I'm more than happy to cover anything. I'm more than happy to make videos on anything. It's really, are you guys interested in seeing it? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Is there anything around Europe I might have missed? I can't watch every single game. I don't have my eyes on everything. Get involved in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.